There were 117,000 people in this country that got their money out of retirement under COVID, the exact same way Marilyn Mosby did. She was the only one prosecuted for it.
Supporters of Marilyn Mosby went down to Washington today, calling on President Joe Biden to pardon the former Baltimore City State's attorney.
The supporters say that she was wrongly prosecuted, but a legal expert says a pardon is unlikely. Fox 45's Keith Daniels joins us in the studio with an update on today's events. Keith.
Well, Guy and Maxine, Marilyn Mosby avoided prison, and despite what some observers have called a lenient sentence, for months she's been publicly lobbying the White House for a presidential pardon. And tonight, a look at supporters who marched in D.C.
Pardon! Pardon!
A rally in Washington, D.C. Demonstrators Thursday with their signs and support for Baltimore's former city state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. A march to the White House to ask President Joe Biden to pardon Mosby.
As if she did something so drastically illegal.
The group of Mosby supporters came from all over the region, including a bus from Baltimore. The event, which started at Freedom Plaza, was organized in part by the Prince George's County chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Dr. Josephine Mourning, co-chair of the Committee to Free Marilyn Mosby, argued Mosby is being wrongly persecuted.
I attended the hearings. I saw the prosecutor, or should I say persecutor, refer to this woman as what she did was comparable to a drug dealer. I hated the fact that he referred to her as that.
The march in Washington comes one day after Nick Mosby, in one of his last acts as the outgoing Baltimore City Council president, pushed his plea on behalf of his ex-wife, with their daughters standing by his side.
I call on my colleagues throughout the state, I call on anybody else throughout the state to ask President Joe Biden for a pardon.
Mosby was convicted of perjury, lying about her finances to make early withdrawals from retirement funds, used the COVID-era provision to make the withdrawal penalty-free. And a separate jury determined Mosby submitted a false gift letter of $5,000 from then-husband Nick Mosby. Both charges related to the purchase of property in Florida. Now, more calls for a pardon.
All they can say is no, so he absolutely should and could ask.
Kirk Nachman is a criminal defense attorney, not associated with Mosby's case, but has been monitoring the case from the beginning. Nachman on the pardon process, which begins, he says, with filing an application with the Department of Justice.
You fill this application out, you state your reasons for meritorious reasons as to why the governor or the president should pardon you. In the governor's instance, it would be for a state crime. In the president's instance, it would be for federal crimes.
And with that, how likely is it that Marilyn Mosby will be pardoned by the president?
The likelihood of any pardon being granted by any sitting president is virtually zero. And frankly, if you look at the sentencing guidelines in her case, I mean, she virtually got a commuted sentence based on what her sentencing guidelines were and what the sentence was that she received. So it's very unlikely that anyone would have a great deal of sympathy given the circumstances.
Well, according to the Department of Justice, 259 pardon petitions were submitted to President Biden in 2022. Only 3 were granted, and last year, 380 pardon petitions were submitted. 9 were granted. In the studio, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.